She wants us to believe this is actionable harassment, what we just witnessed there. She alleges that she's a Me Too victim there. That's absurd. I will happily participate in releasing any further leaks that they have. What does she have to fear if she's telling the truth?
Megyn Kelly just showed how Blake Lively's legal battle is harming women everywhere, revealing that real victims are now labeled liars because Blake made deception seem effortless and believable.
Is an egotistical bully. And she was such a brat that she wanted to control every scene, wanted to see all the dailies, wanted to do her own cut and did her own cut of the movie. All this is very unusual for just an actress in the film.
Blake showed the world how a woman can fabricate victimhood, twist the truth, and ruin a man's career, all for greed, power, and control, while women are paying the price.
This person is not an honest broker. I believe her less than ever. I actually disbelieve her fully now.
Megyn Kelly has been warning all of us, but is anyone actually listening? Because this isn't just a Blake Lively versus Justinbaldoni issue. It's a full-blown crisis for every woman who has ever fought to be believed, since when one rich, entitled Hollywood princess cries wolf, every real survivor ends up being drowned out.
To be the fact that she is an egotistical.
Blake threw every woman who has genuinely suffered harassment and abuse under the bus with him. And for what? Power, sympathy, and control.
Accuses him of doing something, which then when you hear the full context, she said, he came in my trailer while I was breastfeeding. Well, then he produced the text messages showing her saying, I'm breastfeeding, come on over. She accused his producing partner of showing her pornography.
The proof is right there in front of everyone, texts, footage, witnesses, all of it contradicting Blake's carefully crafted sob story. Yet she doesn't care at all, because she didn't just use her fame to spread lies. She weaponized the very system women spent decades building, and now any woman who comes forward with a real case will be met with skepticism and the question, are you just pulling a Blake Lively?
Her lawsuit against him, saying this is all retaliatory, and asking the court to shut him and Brian Friedman up because they're trying to try this case in the media. The only reason this whole thing got started, before she filed the lawsuit, she clearly cooperated with the New York Times to leak the whole.
The boy who cried wolf was a cautionary tale, but when it is a woman who cries wolf, the consequences are far worse. Women already struggle to be taken seriously. They already must provide endless proof, endure cross-examinations, watch their attackers walk free, and Blake, she just handed every predator a get-out-of-jail-free card.
Allegations have fallen apart, and I was not really a bully, I was just targeted allegations have fallen apart, and now he's going full Johnny Depp on her to show that she was the bully. She was the one harassing him.
Because if one wealthy actress can manufacture a harassment story and still have half of Hollywood bending over backward to defend her, what does that say for the waitress who reports her boss or the intern who dares to speak up against a powerful executive?
And her own representatives knew that she was threatening and mean and tough and wanted to get her.
Megyn Kelly is not calling this out for entertainment. She understands what follows when the flawless victim image collapses. Society already doubts victims. Now Blake handed them yet another reason to dismiss real cases. She didn't merely start a Hollywood feud. She scorched the credibility of every woman who truly needs justice today everywhere.
It smells good, and she says, it's my body makeup. That's her big harassment moment.
Blake's lawsuit is laughable, not even amusing, as she accused Justinbaldoni of harassment, discomfort, and cross lines. Yet her own messages showed the opposite. The supposed damning proof vanished because none exists, leaving only playful behind-the-scenes clips where she and Justin banter casually about their spouses while cameras rolled and smiles never seemed.
She's completely flirtatious with him. He is flirtatious back, but they're talking about their spouses, and it's all in good.
Messages show her inviting him into her trailer while breastfeeding, then later labeling it harassment, and claims that he touched her neck during a dance scene are contradicted by leaked footage showing them laughing and joking the entire time.
Getting even more bizarre. One of the key allegations in her complaint against Justinbaldoni, she writes, on another occasion, Mr. Baldoni and Ms. Lively were filming a slow dance scene for a montage in which Mr. Baldoni chose to let the camera roll and have them perform the scene, but did not act in character as Ryle. At one point, he leaned forward and slowly dragged his lips and down her neck. Mr. Baldoni was caressing Ms. Lively with his mouth. When Ms. Lively later objected to this behavior, Mr. Baldoni's response was, I'm not even attracted.
So, What's the real harassment here? That Justin didn't fall for her manipulations, that he had the courage to stand his ground? The moment he refused to let her control the narrative, she flipped the script. And now, because of her, genuine survivors are the ones who will suffer the consequences.
And you can hear Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni interacting as themselves. No such moment is shown. They're acting like lovers.
And my nose is so big.
That's her big harassment moment. They are playfully acting. She's completely flirtatious with him. He is flirtatious back, but they're talking about their spouses. She doesn't say, oh my God.
Megyn Kelly knows exactly what's happening. She's seen it before, and she's right. Every woman who speaks out now risks being met with doubt. Because if someone as powerful as Blake Lively can fabricate a harassment claim and escape unscathed, how is anyone supposed to believe the next woman who comes forward?
And use threats and coercion and bullying to do.
And let's be real. Men are going to exploit this. You know they will. The next time a woman speaks up at work, it'll be, we need proof. We don't want another Blake Lively situation. That's exactly why Megyn is furious. Because when women exploit the system for personal gain, the system fails the people who genuinely need it.
Wants a complete gag order. Now he needs to be shut down to protect her. This is very unfair to poor Blake. Why should Justin be able to release snippets to the media without the full context? That's what she said.
Candace Owens pointed out that women fought so hard for the #MeToo movement, only for someone like Blake to waltz in and treat it as her personal bargaining chip. She's now the reason men can sit back and claim, see, women lie. And when that narrative takes hold, the entire movement crumbles, leaving only the real victims to suffer.
And that she's now tried to turn this whole thing into a PR victory for her to get past what appears to be the fact that she is an egotistical.
Oh, but it gets worse. This isn't just Blake hurting women. She enlisted them. She built an entire army of Hollywood mean girls to protect her and promote her fabricated story. Colleen Hoover, Jenny Slate, Taylor Swift, and PR agents who ensured the media only reported what Blake wanted. They all played a role in shutting Justin out of his own film, his own project, while Blake strutted around like she was the only one who mattered.
That's not true. Stop supporting your friends when they're doing bad or harmful things. I think Jenny Slate, again, full opinion, full speculation, was that girl in the room who just wanted to support whatever Blake was saying. And she probably texted her and was like, me too. You know, I felt weird and creepy too. Or whatever.
Blake was probably texting her saying, me too, I felt weird and creepy too, or something similar. She created an us versus them narrative, forcing women into a dangerous choice: support her blindly or be cast out. Colleen Hoover chose wrong. She posted a glowing tribute to Blake, calling her honest and kind. But the moment the evidence surfaced, she scrubbed her Instagram, deleting every mention of Blake because she realized she had backed a liar.
It even says we now have a concrete timeline, which we believe implicates Blake Lively. And I mean, come on. I was the psycho who put together the timeline. So I think they've been watching the show.
But the damage was already done. Women witnessed yet another example of how truth doesn't matter, only power does. How in Hollywood, loyalty outweighs accountability, and when that happens, the real victims are the ones left abandoned.
What she did, she alleges that she's a Me Too victim there. That's absurd. And I can tell you that as somebody who's not a Hollywood actress, notwithstanding my very short stint in that cartoon.
This case isn't just about Blake versus Justin anymore. It's about what happens when women turn on each other to protect power, and that's the real tragedy. Women already face enough in the workplace. They navigate gatekeeping, mean girl office politics, and sabotage from colleagues, and Blake just reinforced it all. She showed the world that women will protect their own interests before supporting each other, and that even in an industry that pretends to champion female empowerment, women will still throw each other under the bus to cling to power.
But I'm just saying, this person is not an honest broker. I believe her less than ever. I actually disbelieve her fully now.
And let's not overlook the psychological toll this takes on women who have genuinely been abused. This case is a nightmare because now they don't just have to worry that men won't believe them, they have to fear that other women won't either. Blake proved that women can't even rely on their own gender to do the right thing.
You're going to sue Blake Lively too?
Into oblivion, Megyn. Wait till you see this lawsuit.
Oh boy.
What happened to female empowerment? What happened to holding each other accountable? Since when did feminism mean protecting women who abuse the system instead of calling them out? Blake used feminism as a shield, hiding behind it while she destroyed a man's career, manipulated the media, and turned women against each other. And the worst part, she doesn't even care. While real victims struggle even harder to be believed, Blake is probably sitting somewhere, sipping champagne, convinced she won.
She continued. She took that stiletto and stuck it in his heart when he was down there self-flagellating, being so sorry for anything having to do with his testosterone.
And Ryan Reynolds wants the world to see him as a feminist icon. Yet when his wife accused Justin Baldoni of harassment, what did he do? Did he take legal action? No. Did he encourage an actual HR complaint? Nope. Instead, he berated Justin in front of senior production staff so aggressively that witnesses felt guilty for not stepping in. That's right. Full-grown executives, people with real power, stood by while Ryan humiliated Justin and later admitted they felt terrible for not defending him. But don't worry, it gets worse.
Lively will be sued, and we're carefully considering other people that will be sued also, and some of them will come as a surprise. Ryan Reynolds, for sure.
Oh, wow.
Behind Justin's back, Ryan Reynolds rewrote scenes of the movie without permission. Even Sony, a multi-billion-dollar studio that's seen every kind of Hollywood scandal, was shocked. Imagine spending years crafting a film, only for some A-list actor with an ego the size of Manhattan to come in and start rearranging your work like a toddler with a crayon. And the kicker? Ryan allegedly pressured executives to choose Blake's edit of the movie, even though Justin's version scored higher in test screenings. Translation: Justin made the better movie, but Blake threw a tantrum, and Ryan used his Hollywood muscle to force her version into existence anyway.
Small thing I never saw, but she's saying, F with me and we'll crush you. My dragons and I, the biggest movie star, one of them in the planet, the biggest pop star in the planet, and I will hurt you unless I get my...
And then came the Deadpool moment, because of course Ryan Reynolds wasn't finished being insufferable. Instead of treating his wife's alleged trauma seriously, he slipped a joke about Justin into Deadpool, a scene where Deadpool mocks a character for being anti-toxic masculinity, making a dig about how he just had a baby, in a way far too specific to be a coincidence.
Reynolds, has seemingly done, right, is used his power and influence to not only help Blake Lively take over this movie, but, he's used it, on Deadpool and to make fun of Justin.
So let's get this straight. Ryan supposedly believes his wife was sexually harassed by Justin Baldoni, yet he turns it into a punchline in his most successful franchise. Megyn Kelly called it out, and rightly so, because a real husband, a real man who truly believes his wife was victimized, doesn't mock the situation in a movie. He takes action, files complaints, and demands legal consequences. But Ryan? He made a joke about it.
Ryan Reynolds was so abusive. I think he would say, I was standing up for my wife who'd been sexually harassed by this guy and so on. But what role did he have in all of this?
Why? Because even he knows Blake's allegations are flimsy, and instead of facing that reality, he used his platform to further smear Justin. This isn't just humiliating for Justin Baldoni, it's humiliating for every woman who has fought to be believed. What Ryan Reynolds did is the equivalent of every office bro who hears about a harassment case and immediately turns it into locker room gossip. He trivialized it, turned it into a joke, and in doing so, sent a message to other men that harassment allegations aren't serious. They're just PR stunts.
Is that if your wife is sexually harassed, you don't make fun of Justin Baldoni. You don't make fun of the situation. You take it very seriously. You file HR complaints. You raise the issue.
And that right there is the real damage. Now, every workplace, every legal system, every company that already doubts women when they speak up has yet another reason to do so. They'll look at this case, see how the entire narrative unraveled, and say, oh, women make this stuff up all the time.
Allegations have fallen apart, and I was not really a bully, I was just targeted allegations have fallen apart. And now he's going full Johnny Depp on her to show that she was the bully. She was the one harassing him.
Megyn Kelly has said it before, and she's saying it again. This sets women back. If allegations become a game, the people who genuinely need justice won't get it. Blake Lively didn't seek justice or accountability. She wanted power, and she achieved it by manipulating the very system that real victims desperately rely on.
Harass Blake. Blake was interested in wresting control of this movie away from Justin, who was the director and the producer. She was just an actress.
Let's look at the facts. Blake claimed Justin crossed boundaries, but her own messages show she initiated contact, invited him to private spaces, and was physically affectionate. She was comfortable. Yet the moment Justin challenged her control over the film, suddenly she wasn't comfortable anymore. She didn't just fabricate lies. She weaponized them to get her way. She wanted creative control over It Ends With Us, and when Justin refused to comply, she executed the ultimate power move, framing him as an abuser. She knew exactly what she was doing, and the media, always eager to take down men at the first hint of misconduct, allowed her to rewrite the story.
That's what happens to you, right? You run into somebody who seems like a witch who will take advantage of you and hurt you until finally even that kind of a guy rises up. Now, he didn't do it himself.
And her PR team? They made sure the media played along. Megyn Kelly and Candace Owens both pointed it out when this story first broke. All the headlines leaned Blake's way.
Why?
Because the narrative was already set before Justin even had a chance to defend himself. Blake had her team planting stories, making sure her version dominated the conversation. And now, the damage is done. When women abuse the system stops working for the women who genuinely need it.
Justinbaldoni in this lawsuit with Blake Lively, because I think she's horrible and she's made up this whole thing because she tried to steal his movie.
Women have fought for decades to secure legal protections for survivors, but courts don't operate on feelings. They operate on precedent. If more women like Blake emerge, using fabricated claims to win Hollywood power struggles, the legal system will stop believing real victims. Megyn Kelly said it best. If Blake lied, she didn't just betray Justin. She betrayed every woman who ever spoke the truth. And the court saw through it. By February 3rd, Blake Lively's case was unraveling. The evidence didn't add up. Witnesses weren't supporting her, and suddenly her lawyers were scrambling, even trying to add new plaintiffs because clearly they didn't have enough to begin with.
Full of evidence, admissions, documents, which prove exactly what she did and how she bullied her way through the process to take over the movie and used her PR people to try and destroy Justin.
But here's where it gets interesting. Jenny Slate, one of Blake's Hollywood cheerleaders, was allegedly asked to join the lawsuit, and she refused. That suggests one of two things. Either she never had a case to begin with, or she realized Blake was lying and didn't want to go down with the ship. Then the judge delivered the final blow. He denied Blake's request for a delay. Let's be clear. When judges start refusing extensions, it's because they've had enough. The excuses weren't convincing, the evidence wasn't strong, and Blake's entire legal strategy was just about buying time and hoping something would stick.
Is up. Now, he didn't do it himself exactly. He hired a badass named Brian Friedman, and he has badass women like me defending him. But slowly but surely, I think the male class is learning down on the floor, squirming and apologizing for being a man is not.
And Megyn Kelly has been hammering this point. If women abuse the legal system for personal gain, actual victims will suffer. This isn't just about Blake Lively. It's about what happens when the legal system begins treating all cases with suspicion because of one woman's lies. Women have fought for decades to secure workplace protections, HR policies, and legal pathways to justice. But if high-profile cases like this repeatedly collapse, courts will grow more skeptical, and real victims will struggle even harder to get the justice they deserve.
To Blake Lively and getting hired again, because all of her diva antics are coming out, and the way she behaves behind the scenes, and now this with the lawsuit and the New York Times thing, because she's now filed against him as well. So it's a terrible move by her and them PR-wise.
Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and countless other women in media have seen this pattern before. It always starts the same way. A high-profile woman makes a shocking allegation, the media jumps on it, and the accused is demonized before any evidence emerges. But when the case collapses, the entire movement suffers, and the women who genuinely need justice are the ones left to bear the consequences. Blake Lively thought the world would believe every crocodile tear, every dramatic monologue about feeling unsafe, and every PR-crafted sob story, but the internet doesn't buy BS anymore. Women everywhere saw through her lies, and the numbers tell the story too. Blake Lively lost 397,000 followers, and her husband, Hollywood's nice guy Ryan Reynolds, lost 398,000. That's nearly 800,000 people collectively walking away from this delusional duo, washing their hands of the mess they created. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni, the man they tried to destroy, gained over 206,000 followers in the same period, 206,000 people choosing truth over staged victimhood.
Blake and Ryan, in terms of people following them. Look at these metrics of their followers. This is Blake Lively, okay? That tells us there at the bottom that over the last 30 days, she has lost 397,000 subscribers, okay? That is not a small amount. If you similarly go over to Ryan Reynolds, he's lost almost the same amount, 1,000 more than her, 398,000 subscribers.
This isn't just about numbers. This is public rejection. It's what happens when women who've spent years fighting for their credibility watch another woman abuse the system for power and control. Blake's fake feminist sob story might have worked 10 years ago, when the media could still dictate public perception, but today, truth spreads too fast for PR spin to keep up. People have receipts, archived posts, leaked texts, video evidence, and now the very women who were supposed to rally behind her are turning against her. Women don't like being manipulated. They don't like being pawns in another rich, privileged celebrity's game of power. Blake's biggest mistake was thinking women wouldn't notice. Even her own allies are jumping ship. Colleen Hoover, who initially backed Blake, has deleted all traces of her. No posts, no support, nothing. The same Colleen Hoover who publicly praised Blake for her honesty and kindness is now scrubbing her Instagram, realizing she backed the wrong horse.
Just reactivated her Instagram account, and she has apparently deleted all of the photos with Blake Lively.
Megyn Kelly has been saying it from the start. This case is a disaster for women. Now, anytime a woman genuinely comes forward with harassment or abuse, there will always be doubt. Blake Lively handed every misogynist, every bad faith skeptic, and every corrupt corporation the perfect excuse to ignore real victims. She turned workplace misconduct allegations into a Hollywood power play, and now every woman fighting for justice has to work twice as hard to be taken seriously.
Overwhelming, and she has, you could say, established her brand as someone who is anti-abuse. I think it's really important to now stake a horse in this race and say, I obviously was completely manipulated, and maybe rightfully manipulated, and we could agree and say, okay, well, if Blake came to her after love bombing her and said, I've been abused, maybe Colleen actually did just legitimately believe her and did something that wasn't being motivated by anything other than belief.
This was never just a celebrity feud. This was never some petty Hollywood drama. This is about trust, justice, and the future of female credibility. Women have fought too hard for too long to have their voices heard. And for what? So a rich, entitled actress could waltz into the conversation, abuse the system for her own gain, and leave real survivors to clean up the mess. Blake Lively thought she could manipulate the media, control the narrative, and weaponize the movement women have built. Instead, she proved why we need to be smarter about who we believe. Megyn Kelly has been hammering this point. We need to support real survivors, but we also need to demand accountability. If we let rich, powerful women like Blake hijack the system for personal gain, we weaken it for every woman who truly needs it. Justice isn't about blindly supporting any woman who cries foul. It's about standing up for the truth, no matter how inconvenient. Blake Lively wasn't a victim. She was a manipulator. And now, as her career, reputation, and credibility burn, she has no one to blame but herself. Now it's time for you to speak up. Comment below. Do you think Blake's case hurts women? Should women be held accountable for false allegations? Are you Team Truth or Team PR manipulation? This conversation isn't over. If there's one thing we've learned from this mess, it's that women aren't falling for it anymore. Blake played the game better than anyone, but now the whole world sees her for what she is, and women everywhere are the ones paying the price. Subscribe for more breakdowns, hit the like button, and drop your thoughts in the comments, because this conversation isn't over.